Welcome, Ramley. How are my Rams super fans doing today? Today we are recapping the Rams versus the Houston Texans. Let's get right into it. Now the Rams won 38-0. My bad, guys. I mean 38-22. Now the Rams played great. Now they went up 38-0 and benched most of their starters in the fourth quarter. The game was over and the Texans went on to score 3 garbage time touchdowns. Who cares? Really, guys, who cares? Some fans just love to complain, and they won't be satisfied unless the Rams pitch a shutout while scoring a touchdown on every single possession. Speaking of possessions, let's get into the offense. Now the Rams offense had 11 possessions, scoring 6 times, 5 touchdowns and 1 field goal. The Rams just had 1 punt in the first 3 quarters when the starters were playing. Now let's talk about Matthew Stafford. Now Stafford played great. He finished with 305 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a passer rating of 127.7. His stats would have been much better if it wasn't for what seemed to be 3 or 4 drops from his receivers. Not only should he be an MVP candidate, but I think at this point, he should be the MVP frontrunner. A lot of people don't want to give credit to Matthew Stafford in the media because a lot of people in the media didn't think he would play this good. So now I noticed nobody really wants to eat their own words and say I was wrong. Matthew Stafford is an MVP player. Guys, he leads the league in passer rating. He's top 3 in pretty much every other passing stat. He is not only an MVP candidate, he is the front runner through 8 games. Now let's talk wide receivers. Through 8 games, Cooper Kupp is having the greatest wide receiver season ever. He finished today with 7 catches for 115 yards and a touchdown, bringing his season totals to 63 catches, 924 yards, and 10 touchdowns. Not only is he leading the league in all of these stats, but he's on pace to finish at least top 5 all time in single season receptions, yards, and touchdowns. No one has ever done that before. Van Jefferson also added 3 catches for 88 yards before leaving the game with a knee injury. Hopefully he's okay and ready to go next week. Woods added 3 catches for 35 yards and a touchdown. Now Woods had 9 targets, and he would have had a lot better day if it wasn't for 3 or 4 drops. He looked a little off. Knowing Woods, I'm not really worried about it. He'll bounce back in a major way. He did also contribute in the running game with 22 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Speaking of the ground game, let's talk about the running backs. Now we finished with 165 rushing yards as a team and 2 rushing touchdowns. Henderson finished the day with 90 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Now I know I said if Henderson doesn't go over 100 yards this game, he probably won't at all this year, but I don't blame him. He looked great, averaging 6.4 yards per carry. After the game started to get out of hand, Sony Michel got a lot of the work. Henderson didn't go over 100 yards, but he looked great all game. It wasn't his fault. If he played a little more, got a couple more carries, he would have went over 100 yards easily. Now let's talk about the Rams offensive line. Even without Whitworth playing, the Rams O-line looked great, giving up only 2 quarterback hits and 0 sacks on Stafford, also opening up huge holes in the run game all game. Now before we get into the defense, if you guys could please just like this video, follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and subscribe to this YouTube channel so you never miss an upload. I would really appreciate that. Now let's talk about the defensive possessions. Now the Rams defense had 13 drives, giving up 3 touchdowns. Prior to the fourth quarter, when the Rams started benching players, the Texans had 9 drives, coming away with no points at all. And out of all of those first 9 drives, the Rams held the Texans to 5 3-and-outs and an interception. It was a great showing by the Rams defense through 3 quarters. Guys, that's 9 drives through 3 quarters, and 5 of those drives ended in a 3-and-out, and another drive ended in a turnover. That's amazing. Our defense came to play, and I know it was against Davis Mills, and I know I shouldn't get too excited, but you gotta give credit where credit is due, and this Rams defense played great this game. Now let's talk the front 7. Now the front 7 finished with a whopping 9 quarterback hits and 5 sacks while only allowing 44 rushing yards. Front 7 looked completely unbeatable. This is probably their best game yet. Now the secondary gave up 310 yards to Davis Mills. That's a lot, but 219 of those 310 yards came in the fourth quarter against a bunch of Rams backups. And then the starters that were playing were starters that knew the game was over already. The Rams held Davis Mills to 91 yards through 3 quarters. Like, I know this was just a Texans team that we shouldn't get too excited about, but at the end of the day, everybody on that Texas team is a professional. And when you could dominate the way we dominated through 3 quarters, you have to give them a round of applause. And I know a lot was made by a lot of our fans about how we ended the game in that 4th quarter, but guys, the game was over. At that point, whatever happens, happens. At that point, it's pretty much a preseason game. Now let's get into the special teams. Round of applause for kicker Matt Gay, who hit a 27-yard field goal and made all 5 of his PATs. And at this point, guys, we could just please stop trying to force Tutu to be our punt and kick returner. It's not happening. He hasn't flashed not one time this entire season on special teams. He's either failing to call the fair catch, fumbling the ball, or falling to the ground anytime a defender's fingertip touches him. Let's hope he develops into a better receiver than he is a punt returner. And I know he went out to a shoulder injury. I hope he is okay, and I'm praying for a speedy recovery. But guys, at this point, we definitely have to look at someone else to be our returner on special teams. It's just not working out with Tutu. Now let's talk about my concerns. Honestly, guys, I have none. The Rams played perfect through 3 quarters. They did the right thing by benching the entire offense and a third of the defense in the 4th. I'm not going to kill them for easing up on a 38-point lead in the 4th quarter when there's only 15 minutes left in the game. I'm just not going to do it. I could care less what happened in that 4th quarter. I have no concerns whatsoever. This game did not allow a cause for concern for me. I'm sorry. Now let's talk about the positives. The positive is we did what we were supposed to do. We destroyed a bad team and we looked great doing it. I wanted an easy win and I got just that, a stress-free football Sunday. What more could I ask for? And guys, before we get into the player of the game, please like this video, subscribe to this YouTube channel, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. If you like what you see here, you'll love what you see on those other platforms as well. And definitely hit that bell notification button so you don't miss an upload. All right, now it's time to give our Rams Superfan Game Ball away. And today the Rams Superfan Game Ball goes to none other than rookie linebacker Ernest Jones, who finished with 9 tackles, a half a sack, a tackle for a loss, a pass defense, 2 quarterback hits, and an interception. What a way to step up and fill the gap left by Kenny Young leaving town. His performance was very promising moving forward. And like I said, I know, guys, this is just the Texans, but hopefully he could gain a lot of confidence from his performance today, and he can use that going forward and becoming even better because we're gonna need him later on in the season. Now let's get into the NFC update. Now the Cardinals lost on Thursday to the Packers, bringing them to 7-1. Obviously, they still hold the tiebreaker against us, so they still sit atop the NFC West for now. And the Rams and Cardinals are so far ahead of the other 2 bums, there's no need to update you on them. Like, who cares? But the quest for the Rams gaining the #1 spot in the 1st round bye in the NFC playoffs got a little better this week with the Cardinals losing, and also the Bucks took a L. Now the Rams, Cardinals, Packers, and Cowboys are the only teams atop the NFC at 7-1. These next couple of weeks are going to be crucial as the Rams schedule gets a little more difficult. But guys, be on the lookout for my preview of the Rams and the Titans game coming up. And if you're interested in more Rams content, don't forget to click this video right here.